Hello, my lucky learners. Welcome back to Lucky English for Beginners. I am absolutely delighted to have you with me today. Find a comfortable chair, settle into a quiet space, and let the outside world fade away for a while. Today, we are not just learning English, we are stepping into the gaslit, foggy, and mysterious streets of Victorian London. We are going to explore the life of a man who was a doctor, an adventurer, a dreamer, and one of the most prolific storytellers in history. His name was Arthur Conan Doyle, the man who gave the world its most famous detective, Sherlock Holmes. This is a story about how a man who felt like a failure in his medical practice became the creator of a legendary character who changed literature forever. It is a story about the power of keen observation, the importance of cold, hard logic, and why your hidden talents, the things you do when no one is watching, might be exactly what you need to change your life. Arthur Conan Doyle was born in 1859 in the beautiful city of Edinburgh, Scotland. He was born into a family that loved stories but constantly struggled with the burden of poverty. From a very young age, Arthur had what he called a theater in his head. While he was supposed to be studying hard subjects like medicine and anatomy, his mind was busy constructing tales of mystery, danger, and grand adventure. He went to university to become a doctor, working tirelessly to earn his degree. He was a dedicated student, and he eventually opened his own medical office. But here is the truth that many people don't know. Very few patients ever came to his office. He would sit for hours, waiting for people who never arrived, staring at the walls and feeling quite bored and lonely. What did he do with that time? He started to write. He realized that the human mind was like an infinite puzzle, and he discovered that he loved solving puzzles more than he loved treating patients. He was inspired by one of his university teachers, a man who could look at a person and tell exactly where they were from and what kind of work they did just by looking at the mud on their shoes or the specific calluses on their hands. Arthur took that brilliant idea and gave it to a character he named Sherlock Holmes. When Arthur first wrote about Sherlock Holmes, he didn't know he was making history. He just wanted to write a good, solid story. He imagined a man who didn't just see the world, but who observed it. A man who used deduction, the ability to look at tiny, unimportant details and connect them to find the big, hidden truth. At first, publishers weren't sure what to think. A detective story, they asked with doubt. Is that really literature? But Arthur kept going. He sent his stories out, and slowly the world began to notice. Readers couldn't get enough of this strange, brilliant man who lived at 221B Baker Street. People started to look at their own lives differently, wondering, what am I missing? What tiny details am I ignoring every single day? Arthur Conan Doyle is important to you as an English learner because he teaches us that we are all detectives of our own lives. When you learn a new language, you are a detective. You are looking for patterns. You are looking for clues in how people speak. You are deducing why a sentence is built the way it is. When you listen to a podcast, you are observing. When you notice how a new word is used in a sentence, you are deducing. Sherlock Holmes did not have a magic power. He just practiced the science of observation. If you practice the science of observation with your English, you will grow so much faster. Notice the rhythm. Notice the tiny sounds. Notice the way words connect like puzzle pieces. That is the Sherlock Holmes way of learning. It is active, it is sharp, and it is full of discovery. One of the most famous lines in the Sherlock Holmes stories is about the curious incident of the dog in the night time. Sherlock realizes that the mystery was solved because the dog did not bark. Sometimes in your English journey, it is what you don't see that is the most important. Maybe you don't understand a sentence because you are missing one small word. Maybe you are struggling to speak because you are trying too hard to be perfect instead of just focusing on being clear. When you get stuck, play the detective. Don't just say, I don't understand. Ask yourself, what clue am I missing? Is it a word I don't know? Is it the speed of the speaker? Is it my own fear? When you start asking these questions, you stop being a passive learner and you become an active explorer. You take control of your own education. Arthur Conan Doyle was a man of many interests. He was a doctor, an athlete, a journalist, and a spiritual explorer. He didn't stay in one box. He was constantly curious. Many people told him, just keep writing Sherlock Holmes, but he wanted to write historical novels and plays. He had the courage to try new things even when people wanted him to stay the same. You should do the same. If you love science, find English science videos. If you love history, read about the past in English. Bring your own passions into your learning. There were times when Arthur felt discouraged. There were times when the stories didn't flow. There were times when critics were mean, but he kept writing, he kept creating. He understood that the only way to fail is to stop. I know that learning a language is hard. I know there are days when you want to put your books away and never open them again. That is normal. Even the creator of the world's greatest detective had days of doubt. But remember, you don't have to be a genius to be a success. You just have to be persistent. You just have to be the person who shows up even when it's foggy, even when the mystery seems unsolvable. Every word you learn, every sentence you form is a step closer to solving the puzzle of fluency. You are building a skill that will last your entire life. You are training your brain to see the world in a new language. That is an act of bravery. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears sharp, stay curious like Sherlock, and keep writing your own story like Arthur. You have all the potential in the world to become the master of your own English life. Do not be afraid of the fog in London. Walk through it. Be the detective of your own destiny. I am so incredibly proud of the effort you're putting into this process. Thank you for spending this time with me today. It has been a true honor to tell you the story of the man who created the world's greatest detective. Remember, keep practicing, keep improving, and keep being lucky. I will be right here, waiting to walk the next mile of the mystery with you. Bye for now. Before you go, I have one question for you. If you could solve one mystery about the English language today, perhaps a confusing word, a strange grammar rule, or an idiom that makes no sense, what would it be, and how would you try to solve it?